I'm live. Hello, everybody. And my apologies for being late today. It's Monday and I hit the ground running and I had so many things. I've just been talking to women like you on calls about their love lives. And there are so many women out there who need my help. It's been actually amazing. I signed up the most beautiful young woman, 32 years old. She is lovely, and she's going to be doing my 12-week emotionally naked dating course. I am so excited to get started with her, and it's such a joy to be able to do what I love more than anything in the world, which is helping beautiful women like you find the guardians of their souls and live happily ever after for the rest of their lives. And the most beautiful thing of all is that during COVID, my husband joined me in this work. And so we're now working together, which is actually part of my dream, was that the two of us would get a chance to work together. I had no idea how that was going to happen. None. I just knew that it was part of my dream and my vision for my life and my work, was that my husband and I would be able to work together. And due to COVID, we actually wound up, he started coming on the Q&A calls with me. I do 2 live Q&A calls each week with the women who are going through my course. And it was absolutely extraordinary because he started coming on the calls. The women loved him. They loved seeing the two of us together, the modeling that they get from watching us interact, and just seeing the two of us working together was transformative for them. And so it's been amazing, absolutely amazing, to be able to work with him in this course. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I'm going to segue into my topic for the day. And the topic that I wanted to talk about is choices, the choices that we make in our lives and where they lead us to. How many of you look back at your lives and think about a choice that you made, a simple choice where you said, I want this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to take this job, or I'm going to move to this new city, or I'm going to break up with this guy, or I'm going to put myself online and I'm going to go out on as many dates as I have to go on until I find true love. How many of you have made a life-changing decision like that actually changed the whole trajectory of your life, where you look back and you think about, wow, that all started with a single decision, a single moment in my life where I stood back and I made a choice. And now I look back from where I am today and I realized that that one choice brought me to where I am now. That I am the woman I am today, that I'm living the life that I always wanted to live because of a single choice that I made in my life. Maybe it was to leave a partner, a destructive marriage, or a relationship that was causing you tremendous pain. Maybe you took a risk. Maybe you went out on a limb and you took a risk and you did something in your life that you wouldn't normally have done, right? But you made a choice to take a risk, and you look back now and you see how that choice led you to where you are today. So I'm going to talk about dating and how the choices that we make in dating are life changing, can really be life changing. And I also want to talk about how we've got to let go of instant gratification syndrome. So many of us think that just because we make a decision up here and we get something, like we get it, that means that it's just going to happen. I get it. I understand the mistakes I've been making, or I know what I need to do, that means that we're going to see the result of that immediately. How many of you have actually done that? I mean, I know for myself that many of the decisions I made took years to come to fruition. Years. So when I was 39 years old, I looked at my life. I was turning 40 and I realized that I was single. I didn't want to be single. That was not what I wanted. And not only did I not want to be single, but I didn't want to be single and 40 years old and dating in Los Angeles. That was my idea of hell. I sat back and I said to myself, Lisa, you've been waiting for a miracle to happen. You've been waiting for, to win the love lottery. Like you're going to become this fabulous woman. You're going to go to therapy and do all this self-help work. And somehow you're just going to become this sensation and men are just going to be tripping over themselves to want to date you. That didn't happen. I got to be a better, happier version of me, but men were not asking me out on dates. In fact, I would say that I had less options at that point than I had had when I was younger. So I made a decision. I got clear with myself that I could no longer keep waiting for a miracle and that I needed to make this happen, that I needed to go out and find my true partner. What kind of decisions did I make? I told myself that quitting wasn't an option. Quitting wasn't an option. That I couldn't start and stop and stop and start, but that I had to get on the path and stay on the path. So that was a decision I made. Now, in the past, I had started and stopped things many times. How many of you do that? You get out there, you're all gung-ho, and then you don't get the immediate result that you want, and you give up, you quit because it's not happening easily. You're not in it for the long run. You're not in it to win it, as they say. So you put yourself out there and you go on a few dates. I mean, can I just tell you how many times I hear from women that online dating doesn't work for me? And then when I say to that woman, well, how long were you online? They will say, oh, well, I tried one of those free things from Match.com, those free weekends. I signed up. Yeah, it didn't work for me. Or I talked to them and they spent a couple of months online and decided it didn't work for them. Some of you have been on and offline for years. I get that. I went online and I went on 96 first dates in 2 years. 96 first dates, not second dates, not third dates, 96 first dates before I met the love of my life, the guardian of my soul. And I was committed. It was my number one priority. And don't think it was easy, because it wasn't. I had to face myself. I was terrified of men. I didn't know what a man wanted from me. I didn't know how to talk to a man. If I sat across from a man on a date who I really liked, every insecurity in the book came up for me. I was scared that I wasn't pretty enough or smart enough or accomplished enough. I looked around at all the beautiful women in Los Angeles who were younger than me or slimmer than me. How could I not compare myself to them? So I asked myself, what is it that makes a man really fall in love? It can't just be youth and beauty and success, because if you look around at all the celebrities, many of them have some of the worst relationships out there. And so I stuck in there and I started to really pull this thing apart by staying in it and allowing myself to really be in the dating process and not stop and start and run away from it. I started to really learn about what matters. I could get guys to want to go out with me. I was getting dates, but I needed to know how to get a guy to want to spend his life with me. And not just any guy, but a guy that I was crazy about, right? And the only way I could do that was by staying out there, not getting lucky, getting smart. So this one decision to date and to stick with it and to not quit, that one decision to stay in it, to stay out there and not quit, and to stay engaged and learn from the dating process, to learn from the men, to learn from rejection, to learn what to do and what not to do. That one choice allowed me to change my life. I stayed in there. I learned about men. I learned how to get more comfortable with them. I challenged myself. If something didn't work out, I didn't just sit back and play the victim. I took control of my dating life. I would ask a man, I would say, hey, I get it. We're not a match, and I totally can appreciate that. But I wanted to know if you could give me any feedback. I'd love to know why you felt like we weren't a match, because you're the kind of guy that I would love to date. I saw a lot of potential there on my end, and your feedback would be invaluable to me. So I'd ask, and some of the feedback I got really made a difference. Some of these guys actually told me what they thought, and I got to see that I wasn't being feminine. Some of the men didn't even know that I liked them. They would say to me, I couldn't tell that you were really into me because I was so guarded or so up in my head and not in my heart. So as I went through that process and I stuck with it, I started to grow and I started to lighten up and become more open, more emotionally available. I became more able to ask for what I wanted. I learned what to say and how much to say and how little to say, right? And it's so important to know this, because if we don't do it, your friends can tell you what to do and how to do it, but it's the act of staying out there and actually doing it and walking through this. That's how we learn and get good at it. So that when my husband sat down in front of me on a date, I nailed it. I knocked it out of the freaking ballpark. He still talks about how wonderful I was and all the things I was saying and doing on that date that made him fall in love with me. Now, the woman I was 2 years later when I was 41 and I met Benjamin was not the woman I was when I started out. And this would have never happened if I hadn't made that one decision to get out there and stay on the path and not to quit. I would have never faced my fears. I would have never walked through my insecurities. I would have never learned about men. And I never would have become the woman I am today. Which leads me, thank you, Tina, for that beautiful compliment, which leads me to another choice I made. All my life, when I was very young, and maybe some of you might relate to what I'm about to say, when I was very young and I watched my dad cheat on my mom and my mom get her heart broken when he left her for another woman, as I watched all of that, I thought, I'll never let a man do to me what a man did to my mom. Did any of you have a similar experience? I'm sure I can't be the only one who went through this, right? And in the process, I really became a man. And I thought to myself, I can do anything a man can do. And I want to, I don't need a man. So I told myself, hey, Simone, my darling Simone. Hi, honey. I told myself that I could do anything a man could do. And subsequently, I really did become very, very masculine and like a man. And then there came a point in my life when I was dating where I realized that I didn't want to do everything on my own. And I wanted a man to do the things for me that I saw men doing for other women. And I had never admitted that before. In fact, I thought, oh, those women are weak or needy because they want a man to do all those things, for them. And, I don't need that from a man. But the problem was that men want to do those things for women. I thought that I was being different and better than other women because I didn't invite that. And what I realized was, after the fact, is that men actually want to do those things for us. They're looking for women who know how to receive. They want women who can receive the gifts that they have to offer. They want to take care of us. They want to protect us. They want to cherish us. They want to adore us. Why do you think they make all those superhero movies? Because the average guy turns into a superhero and he swoops down and he rescues the damsel in distress. And maybe you don't need to be, or I don't want to be a damsel in distress, but I want to be able to open up to receiving the gifts that a man can offer. So it took years. It took well into my early 40s for me to be able to say to myself, I don't want to be a man. I want to be a woman. I don't want to be a damsel in distress. I don't want to be a little cheerleader, but I want to learn how to make a man truly feel like a man in my company. And so going back to the choices we make in life, the decisions that we make and where they lead us to, I began to have an exploration inside of myself around, who am I as a woman? What does it mean to me to be a woman? And what kind of woman do I want to be? If I met a wonderful guy and he went home and called his best friend and said, oh my God, I met the most fabulous woman, right? And he was talking to his best friend about me, what would I want him to say about me? What would I want him to tell his best friend? And I started to explore and I started to transform myself into that woman. I realized that I wanted to be mature. I wanted to be an adult. I wanted to sit across from a man and be able to be playful and be able to open my heart. And even when, to be able to bring forward that little girl inside of me. But I also wanted to have emotional intelligence. I didn't want to be emotionally needy or messy like I see some other women being, but I still wanted to learn how to be vulnerable. So I started to explore, how can I open up my heart and be vulnerable and connect with a man without being needy? How do you do that? Isn't that a wonderful question? How do you open up and share your heart with a man and talk about, your inner world in a way that doesn't paint you as a victim or make you seem needy to a man? And so as I did this, I started to explore inside myself how to become the woman that I always wanted to be. And I also looked at how that was going to impact the kind of relationship I was going to have. These are all the kinds of things I get the women, or that I encourage the women in my 12-week Emotionally Naked Dating course to start looking at for themselves. What kind of woman do you want to be? How do what is the impact? What is the, influence, the impression that you want to make on that man sitting across from you on a date, right? These are important things to think about. We go on dates and we're just hoping for chemistry and a spark and a miracle. That's a Disney movie. If you really want to have a healthy, loving, lasting, deep magical relationship with someone, it is so important that you start to explore these things, that you start to make choices in your own lives that will lead you to become the kind of woman who can hold her own with a wonderful man. It's easy to sit there. It's easy to sit there and talk about and make lists of all the things you want in a partner. But you have to be the kind of woman who can attract that, who can elicit that kind of response from a man. So Tina asks, how do you show them and still maintain your independence, finding that balance that you need them, but you want them, that you don't need them, but you want them? Well, first of all, Tina, you need to start to show a man that you need him. You know, just like you need to feel needed in a relationship, a man needs to feel that you need him. And I'm not saying being needy. Needing someone doesn't make you needy. Those are two very different things. I need love and companionship, and I need a man in my life. I need a man to make me feel like a woman. I can't hold my own hand walking across the street or kiss myself passionately. I can't do those things for myself. Only a man who I'm in love with and who I trust and adore can do those things for me, who can bring those feelings out in me. We're lying to ourselves when we say that we don't need a man. What we don't want is to be needy with a man. So we don't want to hold a man responsible for our psychological well-being. We don't want to impose upon a man that he needs to make us happy. Nobody can make you happy if you're not happy already. But there are things that we do need from men, just like there are things that men need from women. And it is important for two people in a relationship to feel that they both need each other so that you can feel that bond, that connection, and that it feels safe for you to be in that relationship. Part of what happens when we meet somebody, and why so much insecurity comes up, is because we start to actually feel that we do need this person, and we're not sure if he's feels that he needs us in equal measure. And so that's where we start to feel very insecure and vulnerable, is because we actually start to feel like we need this person. We develop, you know, they start to become a part of our lives. We want to hang out with them and spend our free time together. We want to make love, you know, we want to play together, and we start to need those things. When we say we don't need a man, we actually start, you know, are lying to ourselves, because once we do start to fall in love with somebody, we actually do need them. We start to build a kind of dependence and interdependence on each other. And it feels very uncomfortable because, you know, we want that person to want us as much as we want him or need him. So to do this, you really can't impose you cannot expect him to make you happy. Part of being able to do this successfully, Tina, is to really learn how to ask for what you want and need in a relationship with a man, and to know the right way to do that. You can't make it like a list of demands. You can't have a checklist and go to a guy and say, well, this is what I need. Well, this is what I need, you know. Oh, we need the same things. I mean, you want to learn how to make it an invitation. You have to learn how to talk to a man and say it in a way that is inviting, rather than giving him a list of needs, right? And you also have to learn in many ways how to meet your own emotional needs. Although, you know, my husband is a huge emotional support to me, a tremendous emotional support. And that's one of the things that you're looking for in a partner. But you also don't want to lean on somebody and ask a man to do the things for you emotionally that you should do for yourself. So, for example, if I had a persisting issue, like I was unhappy in my job or something wasn't working for me, I would talk to my husband about it. I would tell him I wasn't happy or that I was struggling, absolutely. But if something was ongoing, I would go see a therapist. I would talk to my girlfriends. I would not keep expecting him to listen to me moan on and on about something. I would be proactive, not just because it's not his responsibility to take care of those things for me, but because I'm the only one who can ultimately solve those problems for myself. And even more so, I don't want to burden him with that stuff. I don't want to weigh him down with my issues and problems. Both Benjamin and I take responsibility for ourselves, for our own emotional well being in the relationship. So, we're both very proactive in showing up for our own, and taking responsibility for our own selves in the relationship and not imposing our needs on each other. But all of this, I want to just go back to my initial point of this whole, talk today, is that the woman that I became started with very conscious choices and decisions to do this work on myself and just begin to transform myself into the person I am today. And this is what I do with the women in my course. I have a 12-week course. I think that there is not another course out there like it. I hear this over and over again from the women who I work with. They come back and they say, Lisa, you're the best of the best. And it's taken me 20 years, 19 years to be able to say that. But my women don't just find love, they find lasting, loving guardian of their soul relationships through the work we do together. And please, I invite any of you who want to explore this and who are ready to start making choices in your life that will really lead you to lasting love. Go to lisashield.com and watch my 45-minute presentation. It's absolutely free. If you don't want to work with me, that's fine. Then just watch the presentation. You're going to learn a lot from it. And if you do want to talk to me about how I can help you get this solved quickly, and so that you don't have to waste any more of your precious time and you just get a proven step-by-step plan for finding true love, then let's jump on a call and I'll talk to you about how I can help you get this solved. I've got to run. I am Lisa Shield. This has been Lunch with Lisa. Thank you all for joining me. Please go to lisashield.com and come on my other live talks. I do 3 of them a week. I do this one live with Lisa at noon Mountain Time every week. I do a second one on Tuesdays. The Tuesday one is called Live with Lisa. This is Lunch with Lisa. The Tuesday one is at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And then I do my favorite one of all, which is called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. And that's with my husband, Benjamin. We do that one on Sundays, and that is at 10 a.m. Mountain Time every Sunday. I also have a podcast. You can get it anywhere you get your podcasts, and it's called Dating Without Trauma. Please give me a thumbs up or a heart if you enjoyed today's talk. It lets me know I'm on the right topics. And finally, drop me a line at Lisa. You can drop me a line, lisa@lisashield.com, and let me know if I can, if you have a topic that you want me to talk about. I'm happy to take any of your subjects and I will turn them into a Lunch with Lisa or a Live with Lisa, or even discuss them with my husband, Benjamin. So please let me know if there's anything you'd like me to cover on one of my lives. I send you all so much love and thank you again for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.